We all know it and we all love it. It is P.U.N.K Kash Dira. Now we are, by the time you're seeing this video, well into Season 21. However, there are still a handful of games from this season, currently Season 20 at the time of recording, that I wanted to show off that happened sort of towards the end. A bit of a win streak randomly. Some pretty good gameplay, I would say so. And yeah, it'd be a shame for those games to go to waste. It's not going to be a deck profile or anything because we cover this deck on a regular basis. So if you really want a detailed breakdown, you can refer back to our previous videos, of which there is a plethora. So you'll be able to see the deck. The only change that we made from our last deck profile is that we're playing double Deer Note now, as per our stream. By the way, thanks for that stream, that was incredible. But because of one of our recent streams, depending upon how long ago we were watching this from, we did put in a second Deer Note from our last deck profile. That's literally the only change. Other than that, completely identical to all of our previous deck profiles. So if you want a breakdown, check those out. They'll give you a very good card for card breakdown. If you're interested in content like this, or maybe it is you prefer our competitive deck breakdowns, you can subscribe to catch things as they're coming out. We do new content every single day, be it a video, be it a stream, be it whatever. No matter what, we can get out something every single day. You can like the video if you enjoy watching, and of course if you want to show a little bit of extra support, if it's within your means to do so and you have that desire, you can of course join the channel as a member, which you can do either with the join button down below or using the link in the description, both of which will allow you to join the channel as a member and provide a little bit of additional support. Every little bit adds up and I 100% appreciate it. But yeah, not really much else to say here. Let's just get into the gameplay. Already getting into game one here, opening up with a pretty solid hand. Anytime you see Foxy-Tune in hand, you've basically got full combo. We normally go for the likes of Ogre Dance first and try to bait things out with a Zeoman. In this situation, we don't actually need Zeoman to resolve or to actually do anything, nor do we need our Ghost Ogre to resolve. We're just testing the waters, seeing if they have an Ash, see if they have an Imperm, and if they're willing to commit to making such a play so early in the turn. Of course, we do have a lot of protection with Crosshair and Culp at the grave, so we're not too worried about interruption. But if we can bait out a useless bit of interruption first, then it's always beneficial. So we're going to grab an Ogre Dance purely because we just need a discard target and I'd rather not discard something useful. There is the Max C, perfect cross-out target right there, so we can still keep our Culp at the grave live in case we need to use our own Max C next turn, which I fully anticipate we will. Negating their Max C here, Foxy-Tune then is going to summon out a P.U.N.K monster directly from the deck. We're going to summon the Sharkusai. This is why it didn't really matter if Zeoman resolved. We were going to do this either way. P.U.N.K raising card, we're going to tribute it off. Going to summon out Wagon and Deer Note. Pretty standard plays. Grabbing the field spell for 600 life points and activating it. Now we're going to Synchro Summon into the Jam Dragon Drive. Jam Dragon, of course, pay 600, get Searching. Deer Note's going to bring back the Sharkusai. And this is your bread and butter combo. Most of the rest of the deck is built around resolving this combo pretty much as efficiently and consistently as possible. Drawing into the Unicorn a little bit late here, so it's not super useful. Summon out Madame Spider, search for the trap card, draw one, and there you go. Double call by. We got the trap, we got the Sharkusai, and our opponent is under maximum sheesh. They do have the Baldric though, so they are going to go for the Baldric in draw phase, I guess, just to dodge a draw one, which makes sense. It means that they can put immediate pressure onto the Sharkusai if they decide to do that, but they don't for some reason. They decide they're going to start playing cards. Now this guy's hand's pretty nuts. So he's going to summon out the Adara as a normal summon. The Ecclesia was special summoned, of course. Going to go for the Yazi. I actually fuck up here. I didn't know that Yazi could not be targeted by card effects. Reading is apparently OP. So I flip up my trap card here to negate the Yazi. Quickly realize that, oh no, it's not targetable. So we have to... We target the Ecclesia so that we can force it to use its effect. Tributes off Ecclesia, Culp at the grave on the Ecclesia, so we at least get some value out of it. Now we're going to go for the Sharkusai, pay 600, get quick play Synchro Summoning. But again, we have nothing to target to bounce, so the Amazing Dragon sort of just fizzles here. It doesn't really do very much, but it does at least avoid our Sharkusai getting destroyed, which is something, right? So our opponent actually put us in a really awkward situation there, I'm not going to lie. Luckily for us, of course, we have the second Culp at the grave that we drew off of our extreme session. So because we were able to draw all of these extra cards, we were able to put ourselves into a winning position and ultimately take the dub from our opponent here, because I don't believe they stick around much longer than their Yazi getting banished. Resolve the chain. There you go. Scoop City. So yeah, honestly, a pretty rough matchup there. It was a bit of a weird one, and they definitely played the Yazi very well there, and I was not anticipating it at all. I also didn't know that Yazi couldn't be targeted, so that's good to know. It's never come up before, ever, in the entire time I played Master Duel, so lesson learned, Jesus Christ. But luckily, again, the fact that you're able to generate so much advantage off of things like your field spell, the fact that your interruption is not linear and is adjustable depending upon the resources you draw, usually means that regardless of the situation you're in, you can normally find an out. And that's why certain decks even find competitive success. Like, look at Sword Soul. Sword Soul is only good because of the amount of other cards and other interruptions it can play and use and draw without interrupting its primary engine, and P.U.N.K is very much in that same boat. Very, very similar in concept to the likes of Sword Soul. I just prefer the P.U.N.K endboard. But I also love Sword Soul. I mean, I upload Sword Soul stuff all the time, so there you go. Maybe that's just my playstyle, who knows. But anyway, let's get into Game 2. Alrighty, so getting into Game 2. Slightly, it's a pretty similar hand, honestly, to last time. We do open the double instant contact, which is a double-edged sword, of course. This card's really strong, but at the same time, it is once per turn. But I absolutely love this card. The versatility it gives you with your extra deck is incredible. Love Brave Neos, love the Aqua Neos, love the fact that Mariner can serve as a replacement for Deer Note if in a pinch. We don't use that very often, if I'm being honest. We can normally resolve our combo quite consistently, and our Deer Note normally does hit the board, so Mariner doesn't pop up very often, but there are certain boards and situations where maybe you do get negated and you need to really summon a level 5, or maybe you're planning on going into a Dragite on top of your initial board, so this being a water level 5 makes that even easier. So I do love definitely seeing the instant contact, and we are able to make use of them here at least. As the Yaman pay 600, yet again, just like last time, we're just grabbing something that we can use generically as either material or discard fodder. But before we get into any plays, we're going to go into Baron de Fleur. With the increase in popularity of Nibiru that is going to be coming up here. Again, this is still recorded in Season 20 pre-ban list, but it doesn't take a genius to work out that in the next format, Nibiru is going to be a godsend. So we need to sort of preemptively prepare for Nibiru. Baron de Fleur is the best way to do that. So playing a solid number of level 7 extenders. Instant Contact personally is my second favorite next to the Kash engine. So these two in particular are what we're going to use to enable a Baron de Fleur preemptively in most of our boards and most of our situations. And it's really easy to do. Realistically, if you have the level 7 extender, the only thing you need to make sure you can do past that point is summon Charkusai and have a P.U.N.K to fuse it with. That is it. So because we have, obviously, the Foxy Tune, and we just grabbed a generic P.U.N.K, that's why we grabbed this one in particular, just because it does nothing and we want it in the graveyard, then that means we have the full conditions for the P.U.N.K board, which means we can sort of do whatever we want, right? We can go into Baron de Fleur, we can give up the Ziyama in order to do it, so you're significantly safer. Exact same thing with, again, Kashtira Unicorn. Kashtira Unicorn does the job better, of course, than Instant Contact, because it also searches Burf, it baits Ash, like this exact situation. So Unicorn is definitely better, but Instant Contact is a close second. We do get hit with the Ash Blossom though. Luckily, we're better at the game. We're just that good. I don't know what to tell you. We got called by. We're simply better. So we're gonna negate that Ash Blossom, so our Foxy Tune does in fact resolve. Most people save their Ash Blossoms actually for the Rising Carp, but that's the thing. Regardless of us having Culp at the grave, that's why we summon Baron de Fleur. We can negate a hand trap, we can negate something, we can negate an imperm, whatever. Luckily, we happen to have Call By, so that's an additional interruption negated. So we still have our Baron de Fleur for an imperm, for an Nibiru, for whatever. But even just having Baron de Fleur, like if we didn't have Call By, we would have used Baron, right? And we would have had to roll the dice on Nib, sure. But 4 cards in hand, significantly less likely for them to have it at that stage, so sometimes it's just worth doing. But yes, you get protection from hand traps in general off of the Baron. So we're able to bring out Rising Carp here. Rising Carp tribute itself, just like before. We're going Deer Note, and this part is just like a well-oiled machine here. From this point onwards, your combo is straightforward, resolvable, straight into the Jam Dragon. Jam Dragon gets searching, Deer Note bring back Charkusai. This is just like clockwork, baby. You just keep on doing this. This is your bread and butter for your dueling. We get to grab our Madame Spider here. Madame Spider also being able to draw into another instant emergency teleport, if I could speak English words. Being able to draw into E-Tele is kind of nice. We don't have a ton of extenders to fully utilize it. And the one thing you could have done, well, let's draw our final cards here. Let's see. We grabbed Tactics off the top of the deck. Tactics is nuts. I love this card. We look at the opponent's hand, we get a look at what they're playing, we get a little peek under the hood here. We're playing against some Sword Soul, baby. Alright, top tier deck right here, Sword Soul killing it. We're going to get rid of that Moyi, get rid of that shit, and now you got a 3-card hand and we know exactly what it is we're waiting on and dealing with. Now what you could do here is, if you wanted to, you had the space in the extra deck, I mean you do definitely have space, you could actually play Cicada King here. We could have summoned the monster off of Vitelli, Madame Spider, and the monster into the Cicada King, which would have been very useful. So that's potentially an argument for playing it. You would maybe drop the likes of, if you don't want to play Chaos Angel, you can drop Chaos Angel and Brave Neos. If you do want to play those, you could drop the Earth Charmer. Earth Charmer's not super important. So there's a little bit of versatility there you could definitely do with the Cicada King. But either way, we didn't have it, so we're not playing it. Ashuna hits the board. We know he's got Taya, we know he's got Strategist, and there's one unknown card. Gonna go for Ashuna, that is fine. Ashuna summons out Vishuda, linking off the Vishuda into the Monk of the Tinyu. It's at this stage we decide, okay, we obviously know what his plan is, right? He top decked in the Maxi, so fucking good for him, I guess. We know what his plan is, of course. He's going to be trying to use the Vishuda to bounce one of our cards back to our deck, our hand, sorry, and trying to disrupt our play. So we're going to preemptively Sharkusai. We know what he has in hand is a Taya and a Strategist. So if you do the Mavs on it, Barone for the Strategist destroys it. Dangerous Gabu for the Taya. So we're well planned ahead here, so we can afford to go for the Sharkusai to get rid of these to avoid him disrupting our plan even further. So they are going to send the Maxi, so they do get to draw a card here off of our summon. They would have gotten to draw a second card as well if you used the Jam Dragon Drive later in the turn, but we actually refuse to use it, so we don't give them additional cards, but that's fine. Monks, get out of here. We also get to draw one off of our field spell, but he top decks into the Forbidden Droplet off of the Maxi. I guess we're not just better at the game. I guess maybe this guy's better at the game. He's going to go for the Amazing Dragon, of course, so he can maintain a Monk on his board, so we can use the Tenyi, going to target the Baron de Fleur. Unfortunately, we're left in a position where we have no choice but to activate the Baron de Fleur to prevent it from being spun back, otherwise we lose it anyway. Now he's going to go for Taya. Luckily for us, he decided to normal summon the Taya, and because he drew into the Droplet, he doesn't have any discard fodder left as a Strategist. So we're going to flip up the Dangerous Gabu, not only negating him, but Madame Spider, because we targeted a monster using a P.U.N.K card, Madame Spider will also have his attack points. So now he no longer has a monster even big enough to get over our Amazing Dragon, which means that we're too big for him. At 1500, our opponent decided, you know what, he's seen enough, he can't win. There you go. Very interesting game there. Being able to top deck the Maxi and then use that to top deck into a Forbidden Droplet. What a fucking play that was. God damn. But wasn't enough. Simply insufficient. I feel like he would have had a much better chance there if he just went balls deep and committed to the Droplet on both Baron and the Amazing Dragon by pitching the Strategist. That may have been a better play from him there, but it's a scary play because he's also giving up all of his resources in at that stage, and not a lot of players like to go balls to the wall and commit fully to a play whenever they think they have other options. Why he thought that, I don't know. We searched for the trap card, he knew we had it, so I don't really know what his plan was, but either way, let's get into game 3. And finally getting into game 3 here, it wouldn't be a complete video if we didn't show off at least some sort of subpar situation, and how much more subpar can I get than playing into a Sprite board. So we're going to fast forward it here a little bit. They're going to go for their, again, this is pretty standard Sprite. Summon Blue, Summon Jet, Summon Carrot. This is pre-ban list, by the way, so that means double Swap Frog, double Jet, right? So let's talk about this. The main reason I wanted to talk about this is P.U.N.K's relevance to the upcoming ban list and likely its success post-format, but either way, let's just focus on their turn first of all. Swap Frog, bounce a card back. Now they're going to link it off into Sprite Elf here. Sprite Elf going to target the Swap and Grave, bringing it back. They of course have one in hand. They're going to pitch one from deck to Grave. Now Nimble Beaver here is going to be sending, no they don't have, they bounced another card back to hand, I'm stupid. Into Masquerena here, Alt Art Masquerena, beautiful. Sending the Swap Frog to the Banish Pile to summon out Ronin Totem, bringing out the Melfi of the Forest. Melfi of the Forest then detaching a material, going to search their deck for Melfi Caddy. Now this is their end board. What exactly does this end board do? Well, it gives them a Spell Trap Negate, it gives them a Floodgate and an Omni Negate, it gives them Targeting Protection and a Quick Play Link Summon into the likes of Avramax, as well as a Negate right here. So quite a lot happening here, I'm not going to lie to you. This is not looking great for us, but we're going to try our best here. We're going to start with the field spell, normal summoning the Ziaman. They're going to shuffle back their caddy to grab their penny into the hand. Now they're going to use the Exceed Monster, they're going to negate our Xiamen. Now we don't have anything left in hand that we really want to search for, so we still activate the Xiamen purely because we want to trigger the Field Spell. Field Spell then being met with a negate from the Carrot, tributing off the now useless Exceed Monster to negate and destroy the Extreme Session. So that is a little unfortunate. They're going to bring out the Penny Synchro Summoning with the Caddy into Herald of the Arclight. Herald is a bit of a problem because so long as this card is face up, any card that would be sent from the hand or main deck to the grave is instead banished. That means no Foxy Tune. We are not getting Foxy with it. We're going to go for Foxy Tune Deer Note instead here. Deer Note being met with a negate. Luckily, we've got that Cult by the Grave. That's exactly why we activated the Deer Note here. We wanted to beat out that negate. And the Wagon is now not really super useful because we opened up with the Field Spell. So summoning out the Deer Note here is definitely going to at least be somewhat beneficial. Summoning it out, sending Wagon to the grave. We're going to go into the Chaos Ruler, the Jam Dragon, because we don't have the Field Spell. Jam Dragon does nothing. We don't have a Water and Grave. Dragite does nothing. So our options are somewhat dwindling, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to rely upon the Chaos Ruler grabbing us something that we can use. We're going to bring back Xiamen from the graveyard off the Deer Note to hopefully generate some level of advantage. Although again, it is very, very tough looking at this board. We can't target his Masquerena or Carrot, and if we were to try and get rid of his board or end him somehow, his Masquerena can at any stage summon out an IP Crusadia Avramax, which would be a very big problem. We're going to check the top 5 cards of the deck. Unfortunately, not hitting a single later Dark Monster among them. Now, the later Dark Monsters that we play are not necessarily cards that we need / want to have in hand. However, what we could have used was some pick and discard fodder for Foxy Tune, so it is very unfortunate that we weren't able to do that. We're going to go into the Amazing Dragon, trying to force him into using his Masquerena now, because he is eventually going to use it anyways. Going to go for Sprite Elf to bring back the blue before chaining his Masquerena, of course. Masquerena then going to link off with the Sprite Elf into Topologic Zeroboros. This is not a card I'm used to seeing, and this is a really neat combo. This card's fucking like crazy, and you're gonna see why now. Sprite Elf summoning out Sprite Blue to a zone that Zeroboros points to. That's worth noting. We of course we send a Carrot back to hand, that's fine. Then Zeroboros activates. Whenever a monster is summoned to a zone that it points to, all monsters on the field are banished. And then during the next standby phase, this card comes back. He also gets bigger by 200 attack for each banished card. So he wipes the board here because Sprite Blue was summoned to this zone by the Sprite Elf. Very, very clever play from our opponent here. Absolutely love that play. Although not in this situation because it's being used to beat my ass. So with only the Foxy Tune left in hand and our opponent having 7 cards in hand, 7 cards in hand, plus the Zeroboros coming back to the field, we decide, you know what, we know he has Gamma Burst, we know he has all these cards, there's no point in us sitting here and beating our head off this brick wall. This is an L. And there you go. Sprite's able to make it happen. Of course, this was pre-banlist Sprites. Do I think post-banlist Sprites are going to be that much worse? No. I think people who think Sprite is like dead or even really significantly damaged by this upcoming ban list are deluding themselves. Sprite is going to continue to be one of the best decks in the game so long as cards like Sprite Elf and Gigantic are all legal. I don't think they should be banned. I think Sprite is fine where it is. It's pretty tough to deal with and it is a top tier deck. But I don't think it requires any more hits right now. But let's see how the September meta sort of shuffles out in terms of, you know, the distribution of power among the top tier decks. We know that even at this stage, before the ban list has even been implemented, people are already preparing for it, so decks like Dragon Link have shot up in usage. P.U.N.K has actually made it onto the tier list yet again. We are tier 3 at the minute, baby. Let's go. And we are doing pretty well in general. I feel like we're going to continue to perform well the longer this format goes on. I feel like a lot of the powerhouses being nerfed, it's giving us a fantastic opportunity to open up. We may need to change how we play the game slightly to adjust to the new meta, but I'm pretty confident about our odds in this upcoming format. So if you watched all the way to the end and you want to show a little bit of support, again, make sure you subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed watching. And join as a member if it's within your means and you have the desire to show that extra little bit of support. The button is down below in the description as well as just the join icon. That's pretty much everything from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.